Sit down, strap in, and Granny put your teeth in your pocket. Lead Lap Radio powered by HMS Motorsport. The leader in motorsport safety starts now.
And by that, we mean now. It starts right now. We are live. Welcome to Lead Lap. We are set in the Race Chaser studio for another couple of hours of motorsports conversation. We are happy that you are listening to us on PMN Radio, or you may be watching us on Twitch. Either way, we're excited and glad to have you aboard. And boy, do we have a lot to talk about. We also have a special guest in the studio. My name is Tom Baker. Next to me on my right is Jacob Seelman.
Yeah, by the way, I also have a point to make here. Thinking about your open, I'm surprised Shane Andrews, the other cue ball from the Northeast, hasn't come and found you and gone, hey, wait a minute, that's my line.
Which line exactly was?
Well,
are you accusing
let me
me of
rephrase
thefting
that.
from Shane?
Let me rephrase that. One of his lines, the Granny put your teeth in your pocket line.
That actually was a Paul Small line.
Oh, was it?
Originally. Yeah, Paul knows I stole it, and I give him credit for it every time I use it at a racetrack. Yeah, Paul was one of my announcing mentors, and that was originally his
Paul
line.
started it, Shane took it, and you retook it.
Well, because Paul and Shane work together all the time. Everybody, that's what, there's a group of us that we just all borrow from each other.
Is that how that
and
works?
Shane comes up, I swear, he comes up with 3 or 4 new ones every time I hear him. Just he is unbelievable. At any rate, back to the show. On my left is Randy Miller from the Inside Pass.
I think we broke Randy.
No, I was just going to say, I think there are some grandmas who still actually have their teeth, so we can't put all of them in that same category.
Mine does.
See?
On the end of the table is Ryan Repko.
Yeah,
who's probably ready to leave already.
No, I'm good. That was a nice intro.
Yeah, I think Ryan's going to have a good time tonight.
This endeavor has only taken about, I'm going to say,
years.
I think a year and a half.
Yeah,
and like 2 snowstorms, apparently.
Like
yeah, it's been a year or two at least that we've been trying to get old Ryan in the studio, and we're happy to have him finally. We enjoy watching Ryan race and appreciate his talent, and he showed what he can do in an Xfinity car over the weekend in Iowa, running for JD Motorsports, a nice 22nd place run. Stayed out of trouble, did a good job, first time ever at the Xfinity level. Yeah, pardon me, across from us, behind the proverbial glass, in the tech shed, as we like to say, is Chris Murdoch, who you will hear from, I'm sure, before the show's over. He is punching audio buttons, video buttons, keeping us on the air and operating as well as can be.
He likes to push Jacob's buttons, too.
Yeah. Well, we all like to push Jacob's buttons.
Of course.
That's why we have him here.
Exactly.
So we are actually excited about the show tonight with Ryan being in the studio. However, it is customary that we usually start with the news of the day. And in this case, the news of the day was actually the news of late yesterday afternoon because Ross Chastain won the truck race until he didn't.
Dear Niece Motorsports.
Oops.
Yeah, something like that.
We don't really know what happened, do we?
Actually, we do know exactly
what happened. Do we know
what
exactly what happened?
Yes, we do. The truck was too low in the front end.
Well, I know that. How it got that way is what's in question. Because
well, yeah, okay, so here's the deal. Long story short, the team's trying to claim that there was damage caused during the race that made it too low in post-race inspection. I don't know about anybody else, but as far as I saw it during the course of the race, that truck looked flawless. I mean, I never saw Ross make contact once with anybody or anything. So, dear Niece Motorsports, you're trying to put the burden of proof on NASCAR in order to say, hey, that actually wasn't designed to maybe break and cause the front end to be lower and give you an advantage. Yeah, right. They're not gonna win the appeal. I'm sorry. It's disheartening. It's unfortunate. I have to say I was amused by the comments section yesterday because, well, you know, we knew this was going to happen eventually, but I think everybody hoped it would happen to somebody that was universally disliked by the industry instead of somebody like, I don't know, Ross, who everybody likes.
Yeah.
So the fact that happened made the comments section in the chat, so to speak, Ryan knows what I'm talking about, much more delightful and interesting.
Ryan's just not going to comment.
Yeah,
No, I'm not going to say anything.
No.
Good.
Yeah.
That's a good call.
It's just not good.
I don't know. I mean, here's my deal with this. First of all, it just makes me sad that it was Ross. I mean, I feel so bad because the guy went out, he won the race. You know, we have this great story of him coming over and doing, you know, running for the truck championship. He needs to win and finish the top 20.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, the win put him within easy striking distance of the top 20. He picked up another $50,000. Has a chance to run for another $100,000. I think it would have been a Gateway.
Yes.
And so it's a great story. And then here we have a disqualification. So on the one hand, I'm really sad for Ross, however, and the team. However, on the other hand, I'm very, very happy that NASCAR followed through on what they said they were going to do when they went to this new post-race inspection and decided that they were going to announce the DQ and take the win away and do all those other things early in the season at the track, which is what all the fans said they wanted. It seems, Randy, until they actually did it. And then some of these fans are like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that?
You can't have it both ways.
It's because it didn't happen to a Kyle Busch or
Correct.
Kevin Harvick.
If it had happened to Kyle Busch, we wouldn't even be having this discussion.
That's true. That is very true. It's because it's poor Ross Chastain.
Well, we'd still be having a discussion. But
You look at it this way. I mean, obviously, you know, even for myself, being obviously, you know, an advocate for somebody who wants to see Ross Chastain, you know, the Cinderella story come to life.
Right.
There's a glimmer of hope that maybe there's some reason why the front end may be low, but I mean, come on. I mean, they said it was a damaged race car. Unless John S. Sauter went over his race truck, then I don't think there's any possible way that's going to be a situation where an accident or getting into somebody is going to cause the front end to go that low to the ground to where it doesn't pass technical inspection. So, I mean, you know, for looking at it from your perspective, Tom, I mean, obviously you want NASCAR to be consistent.
Right.
They were consistent. And unfortunately, you know, Ross Chastain had to be the first victim of them being consistent. But at the same time, if they didn't do anything at all, then they'd still be complaining about, well, you said you were going to do something and you never did do anything.
Yep.
So unfortunately, Ross has to be the victim. But, you know.
I want NASCAR to do its job regardless of who it is.
Right.
I just hate that it was Ross and East Motorsports in this situation that became sort of the proof that NASCAR was going to do what they were going to do.
It sucks that they're the first guinea pig, but here's the deal, and this is my message to all the fans who are whining and complaining about the fact that Ross got DQ'd on Sunday. You can't have it both ways.
Right.
You can't complain because somebody you like got DQ'd and then be all happy when it happens to Kyle Busch or Kevin Harvick or whoever else it is.
Whoever you don't like, Joey Logano, whoever.
Everybody's been complaining and wanting consistency for how long now, and now we're finally getting it. Shut up.
Well, exactly. I mean, that's exactly the way I feel too. It's like I said, it was a really tough situation. However, that's what happened. Nice is appealing the penalty. We'll see where that goes. Meanwhile, they're all focused on preparing for their next race at Gateway and going and trying to do it again, only this time, obviously, with a legal truck. We don't know what the circumstances were, but it doesn't matter. You're illegal. Damage is damage. That's kind of the whole thing with me. I mean, I think back, and I was saying this to Chris earlier. I brought this up earlier when Michael Waltrip won that race at Daytona a few years back, and had the spoiler issue, laying on the bed of the truck. It's not legal. Sorry. Love that it was a great story. Love that Michael won, and it was a tribute to Dale and whatever. But it's not legal. You can't let that go.
We also didn't have a DQ rule in place at that point.
Well, but that's why I'm saying I support the DQ rule for that reason. It eliminates, hopefully. I don't care if it's damage or if you didn't purposefully do it. It's illegal.
Can I propose a marketing question?
Sure.
So the Triple Truck Challenge, we've had, one person who wasn't a Truck Series regular win it. We had a second person get DQ'd, so they don't get to keep the money. Is the Triple Truck Challenge a fail?
No, it's not. I mean,
I don't think it's a fail.
And yes, Biffle's not a truck regular, but he had to declare for Truck Series points. He's just not a full-time driver. So
Right.
he still gets the money, Chris.
Oh, well, I did forget that he can come back and run.
He can come back and run this weekend, but they've already got 4 trucks, and there was no way on this planet Kyle Busch was getting a 5th truck together.
I mean,
but Brett Moffitt gets the money and gets to go for $100,000 this weekend.
And that's where I was going. Was despite all of that, there was somebody that got the good news benefit of that. That was Brett Moffitt, and
homeboy.
I feel like that team kind of needed that. I mean, I think they've been slightly underwhelming so far this year, and it's not really the way that you want to win.
No.
But, there they are, and here it is, and it's hard to win races in these series.
The way his season's going, though, I mean, a win, a second place would be a win anyway.
Exactly.
So, I mean,
right.
who knows if he would have been able to get a win anyways without, the disqualification. But the crazy thing is that everybody complains about this rule. This rule is the same rule they have at every dirt track across the country.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't understand why people are so up in arms about, why did you disqualify him when he cheated?
Yeah.
Because you disqualify people when they cheat. I mean,
and not just dirt tracks either. We had the same thing in the GTM class at the 24 Hours of Le Mans over the weekend.
It's a sports thing. It's not a motorsports thing.
Exactly. Keating Motorsports got DQ'd for a fuel filling issue at Le Mans and lost their class win earlier today. Basically the same concept as what we did to Ross Chastain. If you're illegal, you don't win.
Right. Yeah. And again, it doesn't matter the circumstances why. It just is the way it is. So I like the rule, just hate that it happened to Ross and Nice, and I hope they go out, and I believe they will. I think Ross wins another race before the year's out, and I think he's in the top 20 and runs for the championship.
Well, the problem is now he's right back to where he started. If they don't win the appeal, he's right back to where he started, and now he has 2 less races to try and make up 100 points.
I'm not too worried about it. Anthony Alfredo was sitting in the top 20 going into last week, and he hadn't run but, 5-6 races or whatever. Not that hard to finish the top 20 in truck points if you run every race. So we're going to step aside. When we come back, more conversation about the truck race because Ross Chastain's DQ wasn't the only controversy. So we'll talk about the other one when we come back. More of Lead Lap Radio presented by HMS Motorsport around the turn.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the Track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the Track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ball in street? Girl in street!
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Here's an important message from RAD and this station.
Hi, this is Bob Sheehan from Blues Traveler for RAD, recording artists against drunk driving. I like to party just as much as the next guy, maybe even more. But the one thing I won't do after I've had a few is get in the car and drive. Don't blow it. Always choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives, and so should you.
Automotive technicians and auto service trainees, how would you like to work at the beach and perform for one of the best car care centers in the nation? Lewis Meineke is now looking for skilled automotive technicians to join their award-winning team. If you're a gearhead that knows his or her stuff or a young up-and-comer that has the motivation and drive to succeed, then you need to make this call today, 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center, located in beautiful Lewis, Delaware, offers a highly competitive compensation plan, great benefits, a flexible schedule, and did we mention that you're going to be working at the beach? Plus, there's a signing bonus for the right candidates. Technicians must be ASE certified and have a minimum of 6 years experience. Beginners advance at your own pace in one of several entry-level positions. But whatever you do, don't wait. These jobs will go fast. Call Tim at 302-827-2054. That's 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center. Rev up your career.
Hi, I'm Tyler Reddick, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Hey, we need to talk about him in this segment.
Yeah, we will get to that.
Patience, my boy, patience.
But
I'm not. Have you met me?
First, I want Jacob Seelman, ladies and gentlemen. First, I want to talk about how Austin Hill kick-started Johnny Sauter's heart the other day, or at least his temper.
No, he scraped the match and lit the fuse.
Yeah,
That's what he did.
Yeah, that was an interesting scenario there, and I know that. I mean, I don't know that we. From what I understand, this thing went back as far as Texas, and Johnny was mad at Austin for something. Well, so Johnny moved him.
Because Austin walled him at Texas inadvertently, but he still walled him.
Yeah, so Johnny carried it over, and he moved him when he passed him at Iowa yesterday. He did not spin him. He did not crash him. He moved him. And then Austin just spun him into the fence. So you had uneven payback to start with.
Yeah.
You got moved, and then you put the other guy on the wall. But then Johnny turns around and comes back
and
under the caution and pulled a Kyle Busch.
Or Matt Kenseth.
Or Matt Kenseth. And
no. Matt's deal was under green.
That's true.
It was like a game of tag.
Yeah.
So, thank you, Chris.
So unfortunately, the wind-up here is that we now have two guys who one of them got parked. The other one was actually allowed to keep going, which honestly boggled my mind.
I'm not convinced that Austin intentionally put him in the wall.
See.
I think he was trying to return the move. I just think he got into him a little too tough.
He wasn't trying to just move him out of the way. He was trying to dump him.
I think it was physics.
I think
no question.
Let me rephrase that. I think he was trying to spin him. I don't think he intended for Johnny to end up in the wall.
What do you think's going to happen?
Right. I mean, everybody knows the intention when he was doing it, but I think
Iowa's a pretty small track. There's a high probability of hitting the wall.
Exactly. Again, it was uneven payback. So, Justin Sullivan in our chat, Austin Hill had it coming. I agree, but not under the caution. You don't
Absolutely
go and try. Here's the deal: if you want to, if you're Johnny Sauter and you want to go have words with the guy afterward or whatever, go have words with him. It's whatever, but don't dump him under the caution. That was just stupid. And my immediate response is both drivers need a week off. Period. Park them for at least one race. They don't race Gateway. End of discussion. You can't park Johnny without parking Austin or vice versa. Both of them intentionally.
No, I completely disagree with this because there's a difference between drivers settling a score on the racetrack and what Johnny Sauter did under caution. When Kyle Busch got into Ron Hornaday and put him in the wall under caution at Texas in a truck race years ago, Kyle Busch was parked for the remainder of the weekend. Now, Johnny doesn't run in any of the upper series, so that's not necessarily a punishment. But, this is what we get when we have the boys have at it philosophy. Now, Johnny went over the top of that by causing damage to another truck and wrecking Austin under caution. That absolutely deserves a week off. But if you're going to have boys have at it, you better be prepared for drivers to settle their differences under green, and that's what we saw with Austin Hill.
But there's a difference between moving a guy and spinning him into the wall. I'm sorry, but
Austin Hill is not the first driver to do that.
I gave you space. Now I want mine. At the end of this, you have the first incident was a move. Johnny moved him. He didn't spin him. He hardly touched him.
No,
he moved him.
Johnny didn't move him. Johnny clipped him trying to dive to the bottom of the racetrack.
Well, no, he admitted that he moved him. He was trying to move him out of the way. That was part of what's left over from Texas. Austin came back and just drove right through him. There's no question in my mind Austin was trying to spin him. Uneven payback. You don't spin and put people in the wall with your race car. Sorry. I know that 3 out of every 5 late model races in the South are settled with a spin after a restart on the last lap. Okay.
Ask Repko how many times he's seen that before.
This is what
about twice this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About
See,
right.
I ran 3 races,
and this is why we have this kind of thing, because we've allowed it in NASCAR for years, and a whole generation of drivers have been doing it for all this time. It's like, I'm sorry, if you gotta spin a guy out or dump a guy to win a race, you're not very talented.
They weren't even racing
End of discussion.
to win.
Exactly. And so the same thing applies here. If you're going to purposely spin a guy out, this is racing. It's not boxing. It's not WWE. We're not at Bowman Gray here. I mean, I understand that's why 15,000 people a week go to Bowman Gray. I get it. Okay? I don't have to necessarily think it's a great idea. I understand it. But shouldn't be happening in NASCAR's National Series. You sit Austin and Johnny both out a week and tell them your feud's over. Period. End of discussion. I don't believe that you take Johnny off the track without taking Austin off the track, because the only difference is what flag was out.
Well,
it was still just as malicious.
But that's the – listen, no. That's the point, though. There is a rule stated in the rule book for taking something out under caution.
Well,
there is not a rule in the rule book for what happens under green flag
conditions. But that doesn't mean NASCAR
conditions.
still can't. It still can't sit somebody down.
Well, at the end of the day, there's a precedent for things that are settled under caution, which is done, and which I believe is going to happen to Johnny on either Tuesday or Wednesday this week. But we have.
Do you actually think NASCAR will pull him off?
I believe they will park him for a week. Yes, but
Randy, you believe that?
I believe that there's a penalty that should happen. I mean, no matter what happens, it's not. I don't feel like anything that happened prior to Iowa should even matter, like wins or points or none of that matters. If it were me, I would do the same thing to Johnny that we did to Ross Chastain. Disqualify him from everything happening at Iowa and make him start from whatever at Gateway. Well, he didn't get any points, nothing for.
So in other words, if they don't park Johnny, they're going to get a whole lot of flack for, parking Kenseth when he wrecked Logano.
Exactly.
But
there's a precedent
But
there.
if they park him, he doesn't get to run for the championship because he wouldn't qualify for a race.
Not necessarily.
You should have thought of
unless
that.
But would they, though?
Would they give him a waiver? I don't know. That's a question
right.
that NASCAR has
why
to
would they?
answer.
Because then if you're going to give him a waiver, why penalize him in the first place?
Well, see, that's for me, here's the deal. You should have thought of that before you piled a guy under caution. Okay, you can't. I don't care if he can run for the championship or not. And I don't care what that does to sponsor. You've got to be in control of your racing vehicle. You also got to be in control of your temper.
You've been in the Truck Series for 10, 15 years. You know better.
Well, yeah, Johnny. We know Johnny's excitable. Am I being nice and kind about that? He's excitable. And we know that he loses his mind sometimes, and that's exactly what happened. He lost his mind, and he ended up attacking somebody else under caution. You can't do that. But at the same time, what Austin Hill did is every bit as wrong.
So are you going to go back and call every single move like that's ever happened in the history of racing wrong then?
Yeah, exactly. I am.
Then that's your theory. I don't have to agree with it, and I'm not
That's
going
my
to.
theory. I don't like seeing guys with uneven payback. If you spin me and I go back and spin you, that's at least even payback. I don't like seeing any of it because you can take other cars out with you, number one. And also, there are people that put hours and dollars of time into these race cars. We shouldn't be playing bumper cars on the racetrack. I've never liked that.
We didn't have it in the lightning round yet.
Oh, yeah, you're right. We didn't have this radio.
We're having it early.
Yeah, we didn't have. So we didn't have this show back when they first instituted the principle years ago. But that would draw to reason then that you were against NASCAR instituting Boys Have At It to begin with.
Yeah, exactly. Because again, there's a level of professionalism that ought to go on at that level that doesn't. And Justin Sullivan agrees with me. Moving someone and spinning someone are two entirely different things.
Maybe Johnny's just mad at Austin because Austin took Brett's ride and Brett took Johnny's ride. So he's just he's getting back at Brett through
You're
Austin.
trying to draw way too many parallels.
I'm just saying. I mean, I'd be bitter if I lost my ride, too.
It was a good effort, Randy. But, yeah, it's just for me, I just feel like both of them need a week off to cool down because that just shouldn't be happening at that level. And I think it's unfortunate that it did, to be honest, because it really took, although Austin was allowed to continue, which I just can't. NASCAR just doesn't want to use a black flag unless you do something under a caution. Anything you do under green seems to be okay.
I just thought it was funny. You can see on the replay that Austin tried to run away. He
tried
to throttle up and get out of there.
That's how he was coming. He tried to get away from it. It was pretty interesting. But anyhow, but at any rate, Brett Moffitt wins and puts himself, at least for now, pending the appeal, puts himself into championship contention, into the playoffs.
I mean, he was in solidly on points anyways, but he's now locked in.
And they get the win, which now we go to Gateway, and they've got a little extra incentive. Because, boy, 50,000 is one thing. 100,000 is really, really interesting.
100,000 more.
Yeah. So it definitely is going to be tough to chase Brett Moffitt down. I think at Gateway this weekend, he's going to have a little extra incentive. And
just a bit.
So should be interesting. We also had an Xfinity Series race, obviously.
That this guy was in.
And yes,
I might have been there for that.
You were there for that.
Thank God you weren't there for the other one.
Hey, by the way, I did research on this, and us getting
that's scary.
Us getting Repko in here actually goes back 2 years. 2 years ago this week, because we were trying to get you in here before your ARCA debut at Madison.
Really?
In 2017. Yeah.
Well, and that was with Mason Mitchell.
Yep, that was with Mason. That was his first race with Mason.
Yep. Okay, so we're gonna talk about the Xfinity race next because Ryan was in it, and we want to talk to Ryan about Ryan as well.
Yes.
And maybe a few funny stories about Mason Mitchell because that's always fun too.
Hey,
so,
Mason's not down here anymore. We can
that's
throw
right.
him
We
under
can
the
pick
bus.
on him.
We
Sure.
can pick on him and throw him under
That's
the bus.
what you get when you move away.
Let's make stuff up about him.
I like the way you think.
And put it all over the internet.
All of that is coming up around the turn.
Boy.
Don't go anywhere. It gets better.
Do you love the sound of high-revving motors and the smell of burning rubber? Do you want to get your car sideways right at the ragged edge of control? If you've always wanted to try drifting or learn to improve your drifting skills, Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier motorsports facility, has the expert instructors and the specialized track to teach you how to drift and the skills necessary to drift competitively. From skid pad to open sessions, Summit Point Motorsports Park has the safe and open environment that allows drifters of all skill levels, new to intermediate, to get sideways and smoking. With a focus on safety and the skill set necessary to drift competitively, Summit Point Motorsports Park's Drift Nirvana is just the thing for you. Call for your reservation today, 304-725-8444. Or for more information, go online, summitpoint-raceway.com, or you can email them at office@bsrinc.com. Drift Nirvana, getting you sideways the right way.
HMS Motorsport is the leader in motorsport safety. HMS serves a majority of NASCAR, IndyCar, and IMSA WeatherTech teams, as well as countless SCCA and club-level racers and driving enthusiasts throughout North America. Featuring world-renowned brands like Schubert helmets, Schroep belts, Adidas suits and shoes, Valero fireproof underwear, Lifeline fire systems, and even Racecom radio kits, HMS has the right product for your type of racing and your budget. Their representatives are experts on making your track driving as safe as possible. With locations in Mooresville, North Carolina, and Danvers, Massachusetts, the staff at HMS is always ready to take the time and help you find the right product for your specific safety needs. You have family and friends who care about you, so don't settle for second when it comes to motorsport safety. Just stop in to HMS Motorsport, visit them on their website at hmsmotorsport.com, or send them a message on Facebook. Tell them the folks from Race Chaser Media sent you.
What an awesome game. What's up with your car?
I don't know. It won't start.
How are we getting home?
Chill. My parents signed me up for the roadside assistance from Lewis Meineke. It was free with my oil change. They'd come and get the car started or get us home and tow the car to the shop.
Good to know. With my driving, my parents never know what to expect.
When you join the Meineke Car Care Club with a $35 preferred service, you get 4 free months of roadside assistance, including tire change, battery jump, lockout service, towing, and more. Contact Lewis Meineke, located on Route 1, or call 827-2054.
When do you think of a plumber? Like most people, even if it's an emergency, you can be confident about who will arrive to help you. For quality and reliability, count on someone you can trust. Call on the plumbing services of Hague Quality Water of Maryland. Plumbing doesn't have to be an emergency. We handle all kinds of preventative maintenance too. Hague Quality Water of Maryland is family owned here in Annapolis since 1993. For a refreshing choice, call us at 888-84-WATER or visit us online.
COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, is a lung disease that robs people of their ability to breathe. As many as 24 million Americans suffer from COPD, also known as chronic bronchitis or emphysema, and half of them don't know they have the disease. If you or someone you love is over 35 and has smoked more than 100 cigarettes in their lifetime, visit driveforcopd.org and take the screener, then take that to your doctor. I'm Jeff Stoltz, and I drive for COPD.
Hi, I'm John Holloman, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network. Now back to the show.
Oh, that's way too fitting considering what we were just talking about.
Yeah, good old John Holloman. You can always count on him to be in the middle of some action up there at Bowman Gray, can't you? I don't think they didn't even hardly get the cars out of the trailer on the first week, and somebody was
first week or second week,
first week or second week,
something
and
like
somebody
that.
was attacking young Master Holloman for something or other that happened. It's interesting, nonetheless. Welcome back to Lead Lap Radio, presented by HMS Motorsport, the leaders in motorsport safety. By the way, you can find them on the web at hmsmotorsport.com. And you should, by golly, if you're looking for anything in the realm of driver safety equipment. They have got all kinds of the best brands, and they are experts in helping you to determine exactly what you need for your type of racing, because it's not one size fits all. And they even have radios over there as well. So just hop on their website at hmsmotorsport.com. And
apparently he keeps him in business.
When you took the breath, I thought you were going to do the Jeff Dunham thing.
Which Jeff Dunham thing is that?
With HMSmotorsport.com.
Oh, he could have done that too. Yeah. I don't have a really good peanut imitation though. You know, I'm
you kind of look like him too.
Yeah, I don't think Tom could hit that note.
No, I don't think I could hit that note.
Hey, Chris.
Jose Jalapeno, on the other hand.
Hey, Chris, is that like QuickTime?
On a steak. Okay, back to race talk.
Let's talk about.
It took you guys 2 years to get him here, and now he will never come back again.
Well, no, I think we're at least being entertaining. However,
oh Lord.
However,
you should have thought before you tried to throw Mason under the bus in the last segment, because I have dirt. I just got fed dirt during the break. Thanks, Mason.
Oh, Mason Mitchell's. So we're now going
All
to...
right, story time, Repko.
What?
So, about the whole driver intro debacle, how in the Sam heck did you attempt to fall out of the truck?
You call that dirt?
Well, Mason called it dirt.
You almost fell out of the truck?
I was thinking there was going to be something like way worse.
Okay,
well,
so
if he's got something, I've got a line.
He meant actual dirt.
That demands
It does demand a story.
That's just called not paying attention.
Well, hey, at least you admit it.
And not realizing that, like, they take off that fast.
So basically what you're saying is you weren't prepared and they left and you're just...
No, I was just taking it all in. I was over looking at the driver intro stage where I just came from. Oh, that looks cool. Whoa, we're going.
It was a rookie mistake.
It was my first race.
Oh,
they're bullies.
Were you racing a truck? Is that what?
No, he was riding in the back of the truck.
No, when they do the lap around after driver intros.
So you were doing a lap around and you weren't paying attention and the truck took off.
No, I just got in it and I was staring back at the stage, seeing where I just came from and looking at all the people that were there. And, they put handles on the back of it for a reason. I didn't know that. They put handles on the back windshield of those trucks for drivers to hold on to.
Rookie.
Interesting. Where was this?
start-finish line?
Yeah, about that. And then
well, no, what track is what I was asking?
Iowa.
Iowa.
This past weekend.
This past weekend. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
just now. But,
I didn't know if we were talking about an ARCA.
And then I was on the same truck as Vinny Miller, and he was telling me that at one of the road courses, I forgot which one, his handle actually broke off, and he did fall.
Yikes.
Snake tamer fell.
No, see, we were at Iowa, and I know this because Mason showed up in his social on either. It was I don't remember if it was Saturday when it was raining or Sunday, but I know I guess it was race day that he popped up on my Twitter feed.
I saw him one time all
One
weekend,
time
and it
all
was
weekend.
literally as I was like getting into the back of the truck, he wanted a selfie, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
Naturally. So, so it's his fault you weren't paying attention.
That's the only reason he knows is because he was there.
That's awesome.
Mason wanted a selfie with it.
Who was the person that lost their sunglasses like a week or two ago?
Logano.
Oh yeah, he like dropped them and they were never seen again.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's funny.
That's almost,
They're on eBay, probably.
That's
Yeah,
almost
right,
as,
exactly.
Hey, that's almost as good as Garrett Maines leaving his cell phone on top of his Legends car last week during practice for the shootout and vaporizing it in turn 3.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. Wow.
I think Colin Garrett did that one race. I want to say it was at Langley or something like that for the Hampton Heat. He did that.
That so doesn't surprise
Somebody did that at the Hampton Heat. It might have been him. I'm not sure.
Anyway,
let's talk about your
let's actually
debut
talk
here.
about the race.
What was it like for you? What were you thinking about leading up to the race day, first of all, and then what was it like for you to actually go through that?
Well, I had extreme nerves because I'm an overthinker.
Extreme nerves?
Oh yeah. So I was.
Does that translate to I was scared out of my mind?
Yes.
Okay.
Because we're on
Just making
Fox Sports 1 now, so we're professional stock car racing now.
Is that what you call it?
Yes. And in my head, like there were all these different mistakes I could make and all this stuff, and I feel like I did a pretty good job of not being noticed for mistakes and stuff like that. So I mean, in my head, we're getting ready to go out for qualifying, and you want to drive it as hard as you can in qualifying. And then you start thinking, well, what if it doesn't stick? And I don't have that much experience on radial tires. And everybody says, once they snap out, there's no recovering. What if that happens? Luckily, it didn't. But
there'll be a bang.
Yeah.
You'll hear a loud bang.
I'll have a bunch of angry JDM racing guys.
Disappointed, to say the least.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen.
No, it didn't. I mean, I didn't qualify where I wanted to, but I also only had 20 laps of practice. Right. So you can only be so disappointed with that.
I was going to say, you were not among those that were happy when the rain came.
No, I needed laps bad. I basically just got enough laps to where I could have like something to think about overnight, and like not really anything beyond that.
Well, you made the show, obviously, and I thought you did a very good job in the race from what I could see watching TV, of course, and just kind of keep track of the numbers and where you were at and whatever. And you slowly kept climbing up most of the day, so that's a good thing because it seems like you got better as the race went on.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I learned a lot. I mean, I had hardly any laps in the cars, and they drive kind of similar to ARCA cars, but there are a few differences. They feel a little bit more locked down, and you don't feel them roll quite as much. And then obviously that was probably, other than Daytona, but that's a little bit different. That was the biggest racetrack I'd ever ran on.
Okay.
So that was definitely something new, and I had never driven on like that D-shaped tri-oval type racetrack. Myrtle Beach is kind of like that, but that's also a little bit different. I had never experienced that either, to where like two ends of the track are that different. Because I think late in the race, at one point, I actually got to where like I would run on the bottom, or not the bottom, the middle in 3 and 4, and then I would run the very top in 1 and 2. So that was kind of something I was having to kind of work throughout the race.
It was funny because they, at one point, TV showed the leaders going by you to put you a lap down, whatever lap it was. And, I just sat there and I'm thinking as if you can somehow telepathically understand. But, like I'm thinking, okay, this is great. Follow the leaders, learn from them. But it was sort of like,
Yeah, I tried that.
Yeah.
But they turn a lot better in the middle than I do. I did learn that. I got behind Christopher Bell at one point, and I drove it in the same amount he did. And then I still had my wheel crossed up tight in the middle, and then I watched his car just And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, no, I don't have anything for that.
There was nobody that had anything for that because
No.
he led 186 of 250
Nah, he was hooked
laps.
up. Usually the 20 would come by me, and then it was a long time before I saw anybody else.
Right.
So now you know what to do. You just need to be able to have a race car that
Now
will
I
do it
need.
for you.
Now I just need practice, so
Yeah.
that way I can get that worked into it.
Sure. Well,
not a tornado 20 miles from the track or whatever it was we canceled practice for.
Man, I'll tell you what. I saw the pictures of this. It was just like, oh my gosh.
Oh, it
You
was
know.
awful, and it was like starting to like flood in places and stuff. There were actually rental cars where water actually came up in them and ruined them.
Oof.
Yeah, I don't know if Spencer
So
Boyd's car got ruined, but his car was definitely one of the cars that was.
So where were you hiding during that on Saturday?
I was in the garage area talking about what we had just did, because obviously that was the coolest thing I'd ever done.
Right. I mean, what was that moment? You know, when you're getting ready, you're strapped in, everything's done, you're getting ready to come to the green flag. I mean, emotionally, what was that moment? Those first couple of moments as the race is starting on Sunday. I know you said before the race you were trying to soak it all in during intros and everything, but that had to just be kind of surreal.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think it was at the first yellow flag I kind of started thinking, like, we're here. I'm running Xfinity, you know. And then before that, I had just been nervous up to the race, because it's not necessarily that I'm nervous that I'm going to get hurt or something like that. These cars are very safe.
Sure.
But it's more just meeting people's expectations and then wanting to do as best I can and provide the best result that I can. And you only get one debut in a series. It's not like, you know, we can have my debut next weekend or something, you know. And you really want to make a good first impression.
Well, you know when people give you crap about almost falling out of the back of the truck.
If that's all they have, I must have done pretty good.
Well, you made a good first impression.
Yeah.
So you were entertaining.
Now I'm curious. You know, you jumped up to the Xfinity Series, but how did you? You know, how did the connection between you and Johnny Davis come about?
So you actually have to go back to when I drove for Mason.
Okay.
So J.R. Longley, he had a management position at MMM, and he obviously has his PMG management. And he had been telling me he had this plan to move me up and all this stuff. And, you know, we reached a point with my late model where I think a lot of people, they run late models for years and years, and they expect something to happen. Well, nothing was really happening. So we got with him, and that's I think I had an Xfinity. I had been approved to run Iowa in like 48 hours or something crazy. So that's kind of how that came about. We're going to run multiple races with JD, and that's the team he works with.
Okay.
It's a fun team, though.
Oh, yeah, I love everybody
real
there.
Quick.
Oh, they're awesome.
Yeah.
I had a blast all weekend. You can cut up with them and joke, and they're all cool.
We love the folks at JD Motorsports. It's always fun. We try to do a lot with their drivers and such, and it's fun to be able to do that. And you know, it's interesting because Mason, just before he got out of it, I thought he had two of the very top prospects in the entire country, you and Colby Howard. And Colby's having a phenomenal year in the super late models running.
I was going to
for
say
Campy.
they both fall under the PMG umbrella now.
Yeah, that's right. And so you know, it's really interesting that now you get a shot to go do the Xfinity thing, and I think you made the most of it. I mean, you were saying that you stalled it on pit road once.
So I made two big mistakes and then a few minor mistakes. So my two big mistakes were, okay, so the spotter came over the radio and said we were kind of slow on pit road, pick it up a little bit. So I did, and then we ended up getting a speeding penalty in two different sections. So what happened was we decided to come back in and make an adjustment since we were already going to start the back, so it just made sense to go ahead and pit again. But leaving my pit box, I didn't give it enough gas and I stalled it out. Well, that made it to where I was almost half a track back when the leaders went green, so I lost a lot of track position by doing that. Not necessarily spots-wise, but just the length around the racetrack. And the minor mistakes I made were just, you know, not being as close to everybody on restarts and stuff like that, like experienced people are. You know, I'm trying to, being a rookie and it being my first race, I just want to have a clean day and get through it. So I wasn't necessarily pushing the issue as hard as I might have should have been. But I was able to come away with a clean car, so I feel like that was pretty good. And I'll just work to improve that over time.
You roll it in the trailer, you don't tear it up, you've had a good day.
Yep.
Exactly. And we'll continue to have a good evening talking motorsports on Lead Lap Radio right around the turn. Stay with us.
Everywhere you go, you hear it, and you see it. It's coming at you through your phone, your tablet, and your computer. It's broadcast from your favorite radio station, TV networks, and cable companies. It's in the stadiums, the arenas, the ballparks. It screams for your attention at the mall. It's interactive on Main Street. It's even coming at you from the gas pump at the nearby convenience store. What is it? It's digital content. It's digital content. It's digital content. Somebody has to create it. Somebody has to manage it. So whether your dream is to write it, design it, create it, call it, produce it, voice it, host it, light it, shoot it, switch it, record it, color correct it, edit it, code it, repurpose it, tweet it, blog it, post it, compress it, upload it, replay it, or make sure it gets to where it's got to go when it's got to get there in the format it's got to be in, you need to attend Carolina School of Broadcasting. The skills you will learn, the experience you will get, and the connections you will make at Carolina School of Broadcasting will open the doors to the career you want in digital content creation and digital content management. Call or come by today. Click csbradiotv.edu.
Parents, your son or daughter has had their license for a while now, but you want to make sure they're prepared for any situation they may face on the road. High school driver's ed doesn't teach them to drive defensively. They need to be prepared for any highway emergency. For less than a month's insurance, and a whole lot less, BSR instructors at Summit Point Motorsports Park in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, will teach your son or daughter how to respond instantly and positively to unexpected situations on the road. BSR's specialized accident avoidance training teaches swerve to avoid maneuvers at highway speed, ocular driving, which focuses driving attention on ways to avoid accidents, vehicle dynamics and feedback, skid control and skid recovery, threshold braking on straights and progressive braking on curves, and off-road recovery techniques. This is stuff driver's ed simply doesn't teach. So call BSR today, 304-725-8444. Give your kid the skill set needed to drive safely and responsibly on the highway. That's 304-725-8444.
This is a test to find out if you know it all when it comes to children. Name one of the leading killers of U.S. children age 1 to 13. What's the best way to protect children in a car crash? At what age and size should a child start using a booster seat?
Don't assume you know it all when it comes to car seats for your child. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat and know for sure. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Tyler Dippel, and you're listening to the Performance Motorsports Network. Now back to the show.
Welcome back to Lead Lap Radio.
Note, I made this mistake once. I'm not doing it again.
HMS, but you are no fun.
I noticed that he just looks down now. He doesn't even look at the He's like,
Nope.
No.
You remember it all too well.
You realize I can make you make that mistake as many times as I want to.
Exactly.
I just gotta
Video
find the
footage
clip.
exists.
I still want the little CGI guy in the middle, right next to Jacob's head that dances around.
Christopher?
Yes, we need to do
I
that.
have projectiles over here.
So does he.
I have
So does
projectiles.
he.
I have more projectiles than you do.
If you have no clue what we're talking
please do
about,
not throw Ryan toward Chris.
at some
I
point,
can't
leave the guest alone.
we're going to bring back that footage and show all of you what you missed.
No,
Yes,
you're not.
Yes, we are.
Because it's
Totally
just too irresistible. Welcome back to Lead Lap Radio, and we are talking with Ryan Repko, our special guest for the evening, and
Dancing Jake.
And, Dippling Jacob. I'm Tom Baker. He's Dippling Jacob. This is Randy Miller, and over across the way, behind the glass, you can't see him, but he's here. You can hear him, is
Sometimes.
Chris Murdoch. Yeah, he is punching buttons over there and occasionally interjecting when he chooses to do so. So we got you through your first Xfinity race. When the race was all over, what thoughts went through your mind after the race?
I want a bottle of water.
Well,
it was
that
warm.
would make sense.
Oh yeah. Those races are a lot longer than late model races.
Yeah.
And I didn't fall out of the seat. Let me make that clear. I've been going to the gym 3 to 4 times a week. I was prepared for that, but it still was the longest race I've ever ran, and it was a really hot day. So
I was about to say, I've been to Iowa once, and I thought I was going to die. It's hot up there.
now imagine it with a black fire suit
Yeah.
in a car that's about 150 degrees, warm and toasty.
There you go.
Yep.
Now, do you have a trainer that you work with, or are you just kind of on your own?
No, I just kind of Google different workout plans, and I actually work out at UNCC over the summer because it's the cheapest workout plan going, $25 for the whole summer.
Well, he just segued you into the question you wanted to ask him.
Yes, segue. Please, by all means, regale us on what you're doing at UNCC, because obviously, going to school while still trying to drive a race car and all that is been really important for you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, college, it's busy. I mean, you have to work hard in college. But I'm a pre-business major. I'm eventually going to declare finance when I'm a junior.
In other words, he's way smarter than the rest of us at this table.
Well, not necessarily, but he's headed that way. Finance is a good decision.
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of see, managing money almost like the world of motorsports. Picking out different teams and stuff like that, where you want to, where you want to invest. I mean, I think I can run better at this team versus this team. So I can kind of relate it to that. So it's kind of the same idea. So I think I could enjoy that as
Wall
a career
Street 2,
option.
the Ryan Repko story.
Coming
to a theater near you in
work
2038.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah.
Well, were you always a numbers guy? Is that something just growing up, or the racing thing kind of led you that direction?
I would almost say that racing kind of led me to want to do that instead, honestly. I mean, I don't know. I always thought I would be an engineer just because that's what my dad did, and I wasn't really exposed to anything else. But then we've got a family friend that's a financial planner, and I went and shadowed him for a day just to kind of, I'll see what he does, just to be exposed to something else. And then I ended the day, I was like, that's pretty cool. I want to do that.
It's a great idea. Yeah,
probably a smart idea in this world with
Not
motorsports being so sponsor driven and
so business
driven.
Yeah.
It's probably a smart idea to do that.
Don't have to worry about replacing that with a robot anytime soon.
No, I mean, people are always going to need money managed. So, I mean, you're kind of...
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Now,
Absolutely.
You did something very special because for those of you who don't know, about maybe a month ago now, was it?
Yeah, just over a month ago.
There was a shooting at UNCC, and Ryan chose to do something pretty special after that event with your late model. Talk a little bit about what you did.
So for those that maybe didn't see it on social media, it was basically the same paint scheme I always run, only I colored everything that was red green, and then we had a Charlotte Strong logo on the hood. And what we did was, you could buy a lap of the race. We had a 125-lap race at Motor Mile with the car store, and that was, you could buy a lap for $20 a piece, and all that money was collected online through the Niner Nation Rises program, which was raising money for the victims. So it was more something to be of emotional support with the paint scheme, and also financial support for maybe the victims or in the hospital who needed medical bills paid and stuff like that. And then I want to give a shout-out to Chris Regal and his team at the car store. He did a pie-in-the-face contest, and what happened was, yeah, I know, you probably saw it. And, yeah,
Was he the one getting hit?
Oh, yeah, he got the crap beat out of him. But I forgot how much they were taking up, but they ended up raising...
I can imagine thousands.
Well, they had a cap on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that way that didn't happen. So I think they raised a little over $400. But the way that worked was they had 3 different drivers. It was me, Minnie Tyrell, and Tommy Lemons.
Okay.
And there were 3 different charities, and whoever finished in front of the other one, they got all of the money for their charity. I had it until the last lap, and then unfortunately there was an incident, and I didn't get it. But I still want to give a shout-out to him for being such a great, I guess, team player and, taking one for the team and raising that money.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bravo, Regal.
If
he's a good guy. He does a great job with the car
So I was going to say, if you don't know Chris, he's a great guy. We just pick on him because, well, we can. And, it is true that he probably would be a very popular, what would you call that? A very popular target for pies in the face.
See, he's the race director.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, somebody's going to disagree with him regardless of what happened. So
that's funny stuff.
That's where, as a driver, you that's a positive way to take out your frustration on the race director.
But it's important to give back.
And you raise money for charity.
That was really a great thing that you did to do your
Can we
part
line
to
up
help.
Johnny Sauter with a NASCAR official?
Yes. I would totally get behind that.
Or Austin Hill.
Well, if Johnny Sauter was the one getting hit, Austin Hill would buy unlimited. He would pay whatever it took just to have all the tickets.
Yeah,
his $50,000 that he got from.
Exactly. Yeah. But anyway, so you got, like I started to say earlier, you got through your first Xfinity race. Now, where do you go from here? What can we expect? Late models, whatever, for the rest of the year out of you? Are you going to be back in the Xfinity car again?
So I'll be back in the Xfinity car. Not really sure where. We got to determine. We got to assess kind of how this weekend went and the different mistakes I made. We might decide to try to run another short track race and minimize those mistakes before I run, say, an intermediate race or something like that. But I'll also be back in my late model. I'm aligned with Reynolds Racing Chassis, one of the top late model stock teams in the Southeast, and I've been having a good season over there. Just haven't had any luck. We've had some fast cars, but just I don't know, man. Got to have a race go our way here pretty soon.
So are you running Dominion with the Cars Tour this weekend? Are you chasing the whole tour, or what's?
No,
I guess you can't because you're.
I've already missed a few of their races,
Yeah.
but that's a great series to be aligned with. They do a great job. I'm not sure if I'll be at Dominion this weekend. Originally that was on the schedule, but now we're kind of getting this part in the season is generally where we ignore the schedule and just kind of
do what you do,
figure something out. Because we had that Xfinity deal come up, and then we obviously wanted to pursue that, and now now we kind of got to assess what we want to do the rest of the season.
I get the sense overall that maybe on paper it doesn't look flashy, but I get the sense you're pretty happy with how Sunday went. Yeah,
I mean, I feel like I learned a lot, and at the end of the day, that's what you want. You want to be able to learn a lot, and we're big picture racing. I don't want to have any form of bad reputation in the sport, which is really easy to do being new in that series. And I feel like I kept myself kind of low key and didn't really cause any problems with anybody, and I feel like that's pretty successful in its own. And I'm hoping to get approved for intermediates here pretty soon.
What was the biggest thing that you had to learn with driving the Xfinity car compared to the late model? I mean, you've kind of had an unorthodox way of getting from rung to rung here.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think the biggest thing in qualifying, the reason why we didn't qualify very good was I've always been taught in my late model, drive it in on the chip, get it pointed, and then all the throttle. Well, when I got out of the car, they were telling me, you didn't know to do this because we didn't have any practice. But if we would have gotten to practice, we would have told you, you can roll into it a lot sooner and be carrying all that speed. See, I've never been used to that because in my late model, if I were to do that, I would literally be picking up the gas before the center of the corner.
Right.
And that gets you in all kinds of trouble.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, and that's, again, you've taken big swings. I mean, you went from quarter midgets directly to late models. And then late models, you
directly
to stops of the ARCA series,
races,
but basically almost straight to Xfinity. But at least did you feel like with the ARCA starts that you had with Mason, did you feel like that at least gave you some sort of base knowledge going into Xfinity? And also, were you able to use any of the sim technology that we have available today to get some sort of idea that way?
Well, yes, but without the MMM deal, this would have never even happened because that's where we met JR and really got aligned with him. But
in terms of from car to car, did it give you any measure?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was the pit stops were different because, I mean, Nashville and Madison, we're obviously going a lot slower on pit row and stuff like that. But it's the same general thing. So I was able to kind of have an idea of what I was doing going into this weekend. And then, I spent a lot of laps on iRacing just doing all that, which it did turn out to be pretty different. But still, you get a good visualization for how big the racetrack actually is because everything's laser scanned, so it's exactly. So the car did handle different, and the lines kind of worked a little bit different, but it was better than nothing for sure.
I want to quote you. Chris is going to yell at me for screwing up his clock. He'll get over it. I want to quote something that you said earlier during one of the breaks because I was thinking about it. And I'm just like, yeah, that sounds about right. But Tom mentioned it. You went from quarter midgets to late models, and other than those two ARCA races, basically late models straight to Xfinity. And I think your exact words were, "I don't recommend doing what we did, but it kind of worked out okay."
So I recommend doing the legend car step between quarter midgets and late models because I remember I was winning so many quarter midget races. Before my first limited race, I was like, yeah, we got this. I think I went out there and ran like 10th out of like 15 cars or something like that. And I was like, ooh, that's not very good.
Maybe we don't got this.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, we need some more test days. We need some more races, laps in a big car.
We're going to start hour number 2 of Lead Lap Radio presented by HMS Motorsport right around the turn. Don't go anywhere.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Is your job sucking the life out of you? Wake up. You can do something else. Information technology. I know what you're thinking, but I'm not a math and science person. No problem and no excuses, because it's not rocket science. It's My Computer Career. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. You could start your new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months. mycomputercareer.edu. That's mycomputercareer.edu.
The Performance Motorsports Network is a compilation of shows about motorsports. From technical to controversial to just fun, everything you like about racing and gearhead stuff is right here on one internet channel. The Performance Motorsports Network. Tell your friends about it.
Hi, I'm Reed Sorensen. Racing has been a part of me and my family for as long as I can remember. I had to make tough choices early on to get to the top. It took hard work and dedication. But it's those tough choices that help me prepare for challenges I would face as a cup driver. Make the right choices today and be ready for the challenges tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Hi, I'm Timmy Salamito, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network. Now back to the show.
Welcome back to Lead Lap Radio, presented by HMS Motorsport, the leaders in motorsport safety. We also have to give a nod, because we appreciate them as well, to strutmasters.com, the suspension experts. Whether you've got a car or a motorcycle, if you want to improve your ride, Strutmasters is the place to go for that. Just give Chip Lofton and his staff a shout, either by going to strutmasters.com or just call them. Say, hey, this is what I got. I want to do something to improve my ride, and they will help you out, and they are good at what they do. And so we want to thank Chip and the folks from Strutmasters for helping to make these shows possible and being a part of our family, and we'll tell you about another big part of our family a little later on in this hour. My name is Tom Baker. Next to me is Jacob Seelman. Next to me on the other side is Randy Miller. Over there at the head of the table, so to speak, is Ryan Repko, our special guest for the evening. And, of course, we got Murdoch manning the controls and occasionally talking to us.
Can I occasionally talk right now?
You can if you'd like.
Because I got a really interesting question for Ryan.
Okay, fire away.
So I think if you pay attention on your social media, it's no secret that you like a certain paperclip track, Martinsville.
Mm-hmm.
What makes that track so enjoyable to you to run?
Well, I've only ran in a late model, so it's different from everything else. But I feel like when you get to the end of the straightaway, you're flying, and then you basically got to stop. So I think that's just fun because you always feel like you're just plunging into the corner. So, I mean, it's fun to drive by yourself, and then you get a bunch of people out there, and it's just insane. There's racing all over. I mean, I don't even know how to describe it. The same racing that you're doing in the top 5 is the same as they're doing back in 20th. Like, it's an incredible racetrack.
Yep.
And it's all out for the late model race. So that's definitely one of my favorite racetracks.
Can we use Chris's question as an excuse to ask you what you think about the changes to the late model race?
If you hadn't, I was going to.
Oh, good. Well, I beat you to it. What do you think?
Well, I'm trying to think what all of them were because I haven't gone.
Here.
I know one of them.
Aren't they now the richest paying late model race?
They are.
Well, that's a positive for sure.
Yes.
$2,000.
So
the biggest thing I saw that I liked was I think they're taking the top 20 instead of the top 2.
Out of qualifying.
Yep,
yeah.
I like that a lot better because, I mean, it's so easy to be a really good car, and then let's say you qualified third. I did that back in 2016.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
It's
there's then you enter your heat race, and there's a very good chance that you get wrecked, and then you don't make the race.
The LCQs are just crash fests.
I've never been sent home from that race. I've always been in the feature. But yeah, but
Good for you.
But there have been incidences where if this guy would have dove down here and something like that happened.
Sure.
Then you're stuck scratching your head, and you had fast cars, so that's unfortunate. But I feel like if you take the top 20, then those top 20, everybody's normally really close to that race. So those are probably some really deserving cars that deserve to be in the feature.
So we take the top 20. We go back to single car qualifying, which is another thing that I like because
I love it.
I like that too.
I love it.
It actually rewards fast cars, not just group qualifying and hope you get lucky by not getting pinned behind somebody. Unlimited green-white checkers. Oh
love
boy.
that too.
we
Love
are
that too.
going to finish
That might
this
be a
race
little
under.
scary.
It might be, but it at least saves the debacle of C.E. Falk winning because he beat Corey Heim to the line on a restart lap.
But I do
like they did
love
last
the
year.
fact that the last segment
is
now 50 laps
instead of 20.
20.
Yeah.
They might need
that's
a
better.
halfway break for the green-white checkers.
Yeah, come in and refuel them.
Yeah.
For all 6 of them that are left.
So,
well,
yeah, still 3 stages this year, 75 laps, and then 50 laps to the finish. And instead of the $2,000 halfway break, because the last year they did the first stage in 100 laps, this year they'll pay out $1,000 to the winners of the first 2 stages. So there's bonus money on the line. Like you mentioned, Tom, they've upped the purse for the top 5, $32,000 to win. That's not a shot at the Old North State Nationals or anything.
That's for those in our audience. That's $2,000 more to win than the Cars Tour paid for the Old North State Nationals earlier this year, which was designed to be the richest paying race in history, and it was until now. So I suppose next year's Old North State Nationals will be worth $33,000, and we'll just keep.
Well, that's what I said. Now it's just going to be a competition between series to see who can take the title.
I think we should do the Price is Right thing.
The drivers will. Ryan should feel good about it.
That's good for the sport, I feel like, because that's going to attract cars and that's going to attract interest. So it's a good thing.
This is the Price is Right thing. It should be $32,001.
Yeah.
Because there's always that one evil person that bids $1, and then wins.
Naturally, but it's not quite as good as the fight between Eldora Speedway and Knoxville Raceway for the title of highest paying sprint car race, because Tony just made the Kings Royal $175,000 to win, which is $25,000 more than the Knoxville Nationals. So,
because he can.
Because Tony can. It's Tony.
Why not? So I think it's a cool deal. I like all the changes, and I think the biggest complaint everybody has with that late model race every year is just crash fest. Everybody takes everybody out trying to win the thing
as
at the
most
end
of the
and whatever.
fans say, it's a cluster. You know what?
Yeah,
and hopefully
so
some of these rules make it less of that.
I mean, that's because again, these are the most talented drivers in late model racing. And from running it yourself, Ryan, it's even without everybody, taking each other out and, being over aggressive, it's still a really hard race to do well in.
I mean, it's definitely a competitive race. I mean, I think we had 100 cars show up last year. So that's, I mean, where else are you going to find that? I don't think any racetrack across the country even came close to touching that. I mean, I think the second would probably be like a cars race where they had like 30 of them.
Right.
So, I mean, it's just insane. And they're good cars. It's not like, we've got these 5 that can win the race and then the rest of them. There are probably about 25 cars that show up that can realistically win that race.
Probably 40. I mean, it's the best of the best.
And I think now adding the purse, you had 100 cars show up last year. I mean,
you
everybody
might have
and their
a few
brother,
more.
Everybody and their brother is going to try to run that race. One, because it's Martinsville, and 2, it pays a lot of money.
Sure does.
Oh, it's going to be insane.
It's going to definitely be insane. What do you think about the modifieds coming back next year?
I mean, I think that's cool. I personally don't follow the modifieds that closely, but I mean, Martinsville's a great track, and I feel like any series that goes on that track normally puts on a good show, so it'll be good for that to
watch
happen.
that one.
He's just a fan of the paperclip in general.
I love that
track.
track.
Tune into that one. The modifieds at Martinsville will be, you won't believe what you're going to see. They will put on a heck of a show there.
I'm sure.
Yeah, that's a long-standing tradition that should have never stopped, and I'm thankful they're bringing it back. So that's great. Okay, we know that you have, and we're not. This is not an exit question. You're welcome to hang out here for the rest of the time. But I want to make sure we get this in because sometimes we get sloppy and we don't. You have a lot of people who have contributed to your success. So who helps Ryan Repko make this happen?
So I definitely want to thank the sponsor we had for this weekend's Xfinity race, Tom McLean over at the McLean Group. He's fighting lung cancer, so we're hoping for the best out of that. But he's been a long-time sponsor of mine. Since I started racing late models, and a really good guy. I want to thank PMG for kind of creating the opportunity for me and the route to get there. And, Reynolds Racing Chassis for the late model stuff, RW Race Engines, and my dad for supporting me through all this, my mom for taking me to races since I was 10 years old. And, I think that'll do it.
Wow. Well, it definitely is good to see you get to that step. And hearing that there's a pretty good possibility that you're going to get to do it at least one more time this year is really cool for us because we've enjoyed following you. And we believe, as Mason believed, we believe that you are one of the top prospects in the country who's not currently in a national series full time. And we would love to see you get there. And it's a lot of fun to have you in here and to talk with you. So you've done a great job this evening. So we have a bunch of stuff that we haven't gotten to yet. But
that's terrifying.
Well, but I want to kind of skip ahead a little bit because we've got the Cup cars back in action this coming weekend, and it's Sonoma, and that means it's a road course. More significantly, though, it's the last time that we're going to hear boogity, 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 let's go racing, boys, unless someone else steals the line, which I'm sure Darrell would be fine with, but likely not to happen. So I'm wondering what thoughts go through each of our minds when we think about Darrell Waltrip.
Wow. See, I posed this last week and said we were going to get to this, so I've actually thought about this. My immediate response, if you can sum Darrell up in one word, which is largely impossible, by the way, is
Jaws.
Yeah. No, I was going more along the lines of legend.
Yeah,
I mean,
what
he's done for the sport, both from his driving career and, from a promotional aspect after he got out of the car and now has, gone into nearly 2 decades in television. Whether you love him, whether you hate him, whether you can't stand to listen to him, I don't care what your opinion is. You got to respect the man for giving, 50 years of his life just about, if not more than that, to NASCAR and to making the sport better in any way he can. And to me, that is the legacy beyond, beyond any statistics, beyond any thoughts of, he did this right or didn't do this right in the TV booth. He made the sport better for a really, really, really long time and gave a lot of people, including me, somebody to look up to for a lot of years. So God bless Darrell for what he's given to the sport. And I hope he gets some time to relax after Sonoma because I know I was at Bristol when he made the announcement that this was coming. And he said, I've been on the road for most of my life. I'm ready to take a step back, and I really do hope he takes that opportunity to step back because it's one that I know a lot of people maybe don't get to do all that much.
We're gonna step aside for a minute or two. When we come back, we'll pick up on that. We'll also answer the question that Justin Sullivan asked in our chat: can he run the 32,000 to win race at Martinsville in his bomber car? We'll answer that question around the turn. Stick around.
How to be a great dad in 15 seconds. Bike ride, go fish, walk in the park, phone call, milkshake, play catch, picnic, fly a kite, tell jokes, laugh, talk, read a story, tell a story, bumper car, swing set, bowling, pillow fight, cut loose, stay tight. Whew. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Automotive technicians and auto service trainees, how would you like to work at the beach and perform for one of the best car care centers in the nation? Louis Meineke is now looking for skilled automotive technicians to join their award-winning team. If you're a gearhead that knows his or her stuff, or a young up-and-comer that has the motivation and drive to succeed, then you need to make this call today. 302-827-2054. Louis Meineke Car Care Center, located in beautiful Lewis, Delaware, offers a highly competitive compensation plan, great benefits, a flexible schedule, and did we mention that you're going to be working at the beach? Plus, there's a signing bonus for the right candidates. Technicians must be ASE certified and have a minimum of 6 years experience. Beginners advance at your own pace in one of several entry-level positions. But whatever you do, don't wait. These jobs will go fast. Call Tim at 302-827-2054. That's 302-827-2054. Louis Meineke Car Care Center. Rev up your career.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right. It's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
How to deal with someone who says that's so gay. Outsmart them.
This party is like so gay.
Totally. Excuse me, but did you ladies know the word gay used to mean happy or excited? Then it became a word used to describe gay people. Then somehow it came to mean dumb or stupid, which is how you just used it, which is not very nice.
Ew, that guy is on the football team and super smart, and he totally hates us now.
Totally. When you say that's so gay, do you realize what you say? Knock it off. Learn more at thinkbeforeyouspeak.com.
Hi, I'm Dylan Bassett, and you're listening to Race Talk on Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
By the way, be prepared. You get to do one of those before you leave. So,
all right, cool.
Look alive.
Speaking of drivers who have had interesting times at Martinsville, Dylan Bassett bringing us back from the
we were talking
break
about that
there.
a little bit ago, weren't we?
But I want to get to. We were talking about Darrell Waltrip, and you kind of shared your thoughts. Randy, I'm going to give you a chance to share yours. Okay. What do you think about old DW when you think about the fact that this is his last race?
Well, Jacob's on the right track, obviously, with legend. But when you're a legend in the sport, you obviously want to leave a legacy, and I hope that the race fans will see Darrell Waltrip for much more than just a race car driver. I mean, obviously, being a race car driver, transitioning into an announcer for so many years, I hope that people understand what he brought to the sport and don't just think of him as, just another guy on Fox that's, now no longer a part of the business. But when you take guys like that and put them into those positions, some people translate really well into those jobs, and other people you just kind of cringe and go, why are you doing this? But with DW, I mean, obviously, he brought the laughter, he brought the tears, he brought, so many memories to the 20 years that he was on Fox. And I just hope that everybody, especially the younger generation that may not know who he is as a driver, go back and look and do your research on Darrell Waltrip and read about him and his career and the things that he did before he became an announcer with Fox.
Ryan, you want to jump in on this? I mean, you've been listening to and watching Darrell for a while.
As long as he's been alive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be hard watching races without him because I've remembered him for so long. He's been a part of it ever since I started watching. But, I mean, they're exactly right. I mean, he's more than a race car driver. He's brought a lot to the sport by announcing for so many years. And he's been a part of the sport for, like Jacob said, 50 years. So, I mean, he's been a part of the sport for so long now that a lot of people like myself don't even remember it without him. So, definitely he's a legend of our sport.
Yeah. And, my thought when it comes to DW, the first thing I think of is just fun. He has fun. He has fun doing what he's doing. Darrell has always brought a sense of passion and a sense of fun to anything he was doing in the sport. It didn't matter if he was driving a Cup car, driving a Busch car, driving a late model at Nashville or somewhere in Tennessee, announcing a Cup race or hosting Nashville Now in Ralph Emery's place. Yeah, I mean, you know, Darrell always he always has a good time. And so I agree with you, Jacob. Whether you like Darrell or you don't like Darrell in terms of his style, you got to give him some props for bringing a sense of passion and a sense of fun to the sport. And it's very authentic DW. There was never any pretentiousness. He never pretended anything. It was always just whatever he was thinking about at the moment. And that was true when he first broke into Cup and got the Jaws label because, you know, he just liked to talk a lot, especially about other drivers. You know, and it's been, I've seen the whole sort of trajectory of Darrell from the time he came into Cup until now. And, you know, again, the sport of auto racing is going to miss Darrell's contributions to it. And I hope that somewhere in some sort of way, every once in a while, Darrell will pop back up and, you know, and just say hello to us again.
Like Ken Squire.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Because, you know, it's one thing to not want the rigors of the traveling and all of that. And the man is 72 years old. He deserves a rest.
Yes.
But he needs to, you know, I feel like I really want to see him every once in a while just show up and induct somebody into the Hall of Fame or do something. Just so that
if we don't get to keep Darrell in the broadcast booth, can we at least bring him back once a year for the Darlington race?
See, that's what I'm saying. You know, that's what I'm thinking. It's like somewhere along the way, as long as, you know, he comes out and says hello to us now and then, and we'll all have him on social media, of course.
But of course,
you know,
Darrell
you see all
Twitter.
these people. You know, I mean, I'm old enough to remember when Johnny Carson retired, and everybody said, you know, don't leave us. And, you know, so he decides to retire, and we never saw him on TV again except one time on the Letterman show. And the crowd went absolutely electric when he walked out unannounced and handed Letterman a top 10. You know, I love to see Darrell every now and again just pop back in and say hi, you know, because I think the sport needs Darrell Waltrip to still at least be some sort of a part of it. But God bless the man for all of the years that he's put into to our sport from the time he started until now. Right. So, you know, I know that I'm going to look forward to Sunday's broadcast because I have the feeling that it's just all going to come off. The gloves are going to come off.
Yes.
You know, because you know that Jeff Gordon and Mike Joy and everybody else in that Fox crew are going to just bring the A game, and you're going to hear a lot of talk about Darrell Waltrip on Sunday. And
that you probably didn't expect you'd hear.
Yeah, exactly. And probably a few barbs thrown his way, and just, you know, that's going to be a fun time on Sunday. I think everybody's going to be nice and loose for that. And it's always a great race, which brings me kind of to my next topic.
Before you get off on that topic, I have 2 points I want to make.
Okay.
Number one, I want to answer the Justin Sullivan's question that we never answered in the chat.
That's right. Sorry, Justin.
Dear Justin, I don't think you can race your bomber in the Martinsville Late Model 300, no.
I think if you put about $32,000 into the bomber and made it could make it somehow into a late model stock, maybe you'd be able to.
He might get away with it toward the end of the race when they all start looking like bombers.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll let you do that, though. Tech's pretty strict there. They always hate the bodies on my cars and make us change stuff.
Justin says for $32,000, I'll race a Barbie Jeep as long as it has 4 tires and a motor.
There you go.
There you go. So, you know, that's
good way to stay out of trouble and wait till everybody wrecks.
Yeah, spoken like a true racer. Yeah, Beagle Bomb. Spoken like a true racer there. Okay, so back to
my second point. I want to get Ryan to sign the wall.
Oh, well, we can do that. All right. We'll do that, and then we'll talk Sonoma.
Pick a spot.
This is a tradition for those of you who are not familiar with the show. We have our Wall of Fame here. Ryan,
this is exciting because I've never been on this side of the table when the wall's been signed before. I don't get to see this part.
Ryan's going to put his autograph, wherever you'd like, as long as there's an empty spot there. You just can't write over someone else. So Ryan goes far left.
Don't be like Johnny Sauter and run over somebody.
Yeah, we don't want you to do that.
Oh, that's smart.
Oh, look at
that. Both car numbers.
Yeah, there we go. We got an 01.
Now he doesn't have to change it for a while.
A 14.
Yeah, see, I got my late model 14, and then I got the 01 Xfinity car right there.
There you go.
Okay, so talking about Sonoma, I feel like this is a race that 10 years ago, we'd have been talking about people like Boris said and saying, these are guys who could win this race.
What did he say?
We don't, well, he didn't say anything.
Well, I can't believe you're going to not start this off with talking about the new layout.
Well, there's that too. But I think the larger point I want to make before we even get to that is we don't need ringers anymore because we've got this whole generation of cup racers who are really, really good on road courses. And there's about half a dozen or so of them that are going to get additional experience by running in the K&N race the day before, prior to their cup start, which is always...
Which happens every year anyway.
Yeah, it's always interesting. But I feel like this is a race that's up for grabs this year. And part of the reason for that is because, well, we're going to, as I saw it put in one article, take a walk on the wild side this year and run what basically is the full Sonoma course, which...
Add the carousel.
Yes, we're going to add the carousel, which makes me hope, gives me hope that when we get to Watkins Glen at some point, hopefully, if not this year, the next, we're going to put the boot in there and run the whole doggone course at Watkins Glen, because I think that should have happened all along. But what do you think adding that carousel is going to do to the racing at Sonoma?
I don't really think it's going to change it all that much other than maybe open up one or two more passing zones, which is always good when you consider it's a road course and there's, potentially limited passing opportunities. But I think it's great personally. I've always been a big fan of the full layout at Sonoma, and I never really understood why we didn't use it for NASCAR, why we always used the short course.
I don't know.
I'm very much looking forward to seeing it play out this weekend. It's also in celebration of the 50th anniversary of Sonoma Raceway, which I think is really, really cool.
Well, and I think it's the perfect time to add it. Randy, you got an opinion?
No, it's funny because when I hear you guys say carousel, it makes me imagine like drivers stopping and getting out of their cars and riding merry-go-round and then getting back in and taking off.
I think it's that.
I mean, I know what it is. I think
Carousel.
it's cool. It gives, like Jacob said, it gives an opportunity to pass, but it also gives an opportunity for somebody to take somebody else out. So, because it's 2 extra corners of the track that you can use for your advantage.
Four
extra corners, I mean, that you can use to take your advantage. So, I don't know. I think it's gonna be fun. It'd be cool to see the new, kind of the new old layout, because they used the layout before several years ago, right? And then they stopped it and went to the older layout. So, it'd be cool, I think.
Yeah, I don't know why we ever went to the short courses on those two particular facilities, but I'm excited about it because I think it will, at least for this year, in some way, I feel like, add a little bit of neutrality to this. Although we're going to have, like I said, we got about 5 or 6 of the guys that are going to run in the K&N race as a warm-up.
Is K&N using the full course too, or are they using the short
As
course?
far as I know.
Yeah, okay. I think they are. I think that's why those guys are doing that. And I've never been a big fan of that, to be honest, because I think the K&N drivers should. But then again, we've had Will Rogers basically steal the thunder there before, and he's entered again. But
so to be fair, Will Rogers not being in a full-time car is a crying shame because the boy deserves it.
I agree.
So I don't consider him in the same category as I do the Cup interlopers because God knows.
Well, no, I was making the point that as a K&N regular, he
came in and spanked him last year.
Yeah.
And ran second to Harvick the one year that Harvick ran Sonoma.
Mm-hmm.
So, dear Will Rogers, please do things again this weekend. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I want to see a regular kick all the Cup guys' butts.
So, if you want a suggestion on another regular to watch this weekend, Derek Kraus is coming off a huge in his debut in the series. By the way, won the Trans Am race on Sunday. This past weekend at Sonoma, hadn't set foot in a Trans Am car before this weekend, and he went out and smashed. It was really cool to watch.
Didn't even have to go 4 wide at the end to pull off the win. Amazing.
So keep an eye on Derek. If Bill McAnally builds fast race cars, and I think if Derek comes in with the confidence of that victory and can really make something happen, this is his third year running the Can-Am West race at Sonoma. He knows that track. Yeah, the carousel's going to throw everybody for a little bit of a loop, but I like Derek to have a shot too.
We'll pick this up on the other side of the break. You are watching or listening to Lead Lap Radio, presented by HMS Motorsport, the leaders in motorsport safety. We will be right back.
Parents, your son or daughter has had their license for a while now, but you want to make sure they're prepared for any situation they may face on the road. High school driver's ed doesn't teach them to drive defensively. They need to be prepared for any highway emergency. For less than a month's insurance, and a whole lot less, BSR instructors at Summit Point Motorsports Park in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, will teach your son or daughter how to respond instantly and positively to unexpected situations on the road. BSR's specialized accident avoidance training teaches swerve to avoid maneuvers at highway speed, ocular driving, which focuses driving attention on ways to avoid accidents, vehicle dynamics and feedback, skid control and skid recovery, threshold braking on straights and progressive braking on curves, and off-road recovery techniques. This is stuff driver's ed simply doesn't teach. So call BSR today, 304-725-8444. Give your kid the skill set needed to drive safely and responsibly on the highway. That's 304-725-8444.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right. It's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
HMS Motorsport is the leader in motorsport safety. HMS serves a majority of NASCAR, IndyCar, and IMSA WeatherTech teams, as well as countless SCCA and club-level racers and driving enthusiasts throughout North America. Featuring world-renowned brands like Schubert helmets, Schroep belts, Adidas suits and shoes, Valero fireproof underwear, Lifeline fire systems, and even Racecom radio kits, HMS has the right product for your type of racing and your budget. Their representatives are experts on making your track driving as safe as possible. With locations in Mooresville, North Carolina, and Danvers, Massachusetts, the staff at HMS is always ready to take the time and help you find the right product for your specific safety needs. You have family and friends who care about you, so don't settle for second when it comes to motorsport safety. Just stop in to HMS Motorsport, visit them on their website at hmsmotorsport.com, or send them a message on Facebook. Tell them the folks from Race Chaser Media sent you.
Hi, this is John Ondrasik of Five for Fighting, here for RAD, the entertainment industry's voice for road safety. You know, style is a personal thing, and your lifestyle is your business. But if you take it on the road, it becomes everybody's business. So please, plan ahead, designate before you celebrate. Friends, don't let friends drive drunk.
A public service announcement brought to you by RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Brandon McReynolds, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network. Now back to the show.
Love me some Metallica. Welcome back to Lead Lap Radio, presented by HMS Motorsport, the leaders in motorsport safety, strutmasters.com, the suspension experts. And we want to thank the fine folks at mycomputercareer.edu, training for a better life. If you are looking for a career change or just looking for your first career, and you might be thinking about something along the lines of IT, My Computer Career is the place for you to go. They have a free career evaluation test you can take on their website at mycomputercareer.edu. If you decide to go forward, doesn't have to be a full-time commitment. You can do it a few days a week, both either online or at one of their 7 campuses across the country. And, oh, by the way, financial aid is available if you qualify, including the GI Bill. And in as little as 4 months, you can be ready for one of the 2 million or more jobs that are currently unfilled in cybersecurity in this country. And mycomputercareer.edu can provide that training. They do work with hundreds of employers to try and get you placed once you are ready to go. So mycomputercareer.edu, it's training for a better life. And oh, by the way, if you're not that great at math or science, don't worry. It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu. We continue now with League Lap and been talking about Sonoma. And Randy, you were going to make a point before the break.
Well, I had to look at the entry list because I saw that Haley Deegan was on there. So my point now is that Derek Kraus should watch out because Haley's in the race. And she has the ability to turn left and right, and apparently turns right a lot. So having it Sonoma is not going to be very much trouble for her. Am I right, Jacob?
Yeah, Jacob teed off on Haley Deegan.
Work with me here, Jacob. Work with me here.
I did tee off last week on Haley Deegan. And
she can turn left and right very well. That's all I said.
But it's going to be interesting to watch her on the road course, actually. But
she's been running road courses for the last 3 weeks.
I do agree.
Well, okay, here's the deal. Here's the deal
with the last 3 weeks.
Here's the deal with that. She's an off-road racer, so she's used to not going.
So
not
she won't even
time.
be on the course. She'll just be off in the grass somewhere.
Ouch!
I do that on PlayStation all the time. When I get to the corner, I don't do the corner. Just run through the dirt. Whatever.
It's amazing how well
come
it
out
works
on the other side. It does. I won every race at Sonoma.
Rip the splitter off of it.
It's right.
You hit the reset button, you start over. That's how it works.
But I'm in general agreement with the idea of that I don't like the interlopers in this race. I feel
you and I are
it's
in
just
agreement
too much
with this.
like Tom Brady going back and playing for his high school or his college team again. I'm sorry.
I predicated my tweet that I posted during one of the breaks that I said I'm going to get hate mail for this because I know how the fans are, but I refuse to back down from the point. Okay, I cut Noah Gragson a little bit of slack because he wants to go back home and race in front of the home crowd, so to speak. And he, as you referenced during one of our breaks, Tom, Noah Gragson made Jefferson Pitts Racing in its current iteration. Before that, I would argue Greg Pursley kind of made the team.
But he's not a Cup driver either.
Yeah. But, Noah's an Xfinity driver.
No, but I'm saying, though, it's a whole lot worse when you have all the Cup guys running K&N.
Yeah.
But if you have Xfinity and truck guys running it, it's not so bad.
Noah's still trying to get the experience to get Cup and have the success.
Still looking for experience.
I give Cole Custer a bit of a strike here because he's already been there, done that at least once in the Sonoma K&N race. It's like this is not new. I know you're looking for something to do, Cole, but
isn't he hometown though too?
Yeah, I mean, again,
he's
I don't have an
kid.
issue with the Xfinity guys. It's just these seasoned Cup guys that are going
Well,
back.
yeah,
and
and
Austin
just,
Dillon's.
Austin Dillon's been there, done that a bit. Now, Preece and Hemrick are doing it because they've never seen Sonoma. But it's just the whole concept here. I mean, I get why they're doing it. It doesn't mean I have to like it, and I don't like it.
I guess my deal with it is I'd feel a little better about it if the way that it worked was if one of the Cuppers won, and let's just pick an K&N regular here. Let's say Derek Kraus. Kraus finished second. If they would give Kraus first place points and all of that. In other words, basically do it like you would do an IMSA race where you have two separate divisions.
Yeah, or do it like you do it in the National Series where these guys that are coming down from the National Series don't get points at all. Like
but they do get money and they do get the win, and that's my problem with this is I just don't. I mean points are irrelevant, but you want point, and it should be that way.
So I want to draw the timeline here and go back to where this all actually started because it really started if you circle back about, I'm going to say 5-6. I think the last time I'm looking and we didn't actually have somebody that was a National Series regular at that point was 2013. So if you draw back to 2014 is where this really got started. Kyle Larson, who was in his first, one of his first years in the Xfinity Series, right? Actually, I guess it was his first year in the Cup Series.
It was first year in Cup, but
he came to Sonoma in a Steve Turner prepared Steve Turner Chip Ganassi 42 car and beat the pants off everybody to win that race. That was a race where you had Ricky Stenhouse jump down from Roush. You had Michael Annette jump down at that point, and I'm trying to remember if he was Xfinity.
He was still in
Cup.
Xfinity.
No, actually, he was in Cup at that point.
Wait. Michael Annette?
Yeah, the 2014 race, he was in Cup that year. He racing
4 in Cup.
He ran 3 full seasons in Cup.
But who is he racing for that year?
He was racing. Oh, that was the year he was racing for Tommy Baldwin.
Oh, okay.
He was running the Baldwin car that year. You had Michael Annett jump down with TMC and Pilot. You had Cole Custer jump down from either. I guess he would have been. No, Cole was.
He wasn't even in Xfinity
yet. Cole was running. That was his first year run. He was old enough to run trucks, so I give Cole a bit of a pass that year. But you had Allgaier jump down and run. You had Austin Dillon. That was the first year Austin Dillon jumped down and ran in an RCR car. I think maybe 2013 you may have actually had Trevor Bayne run, come to think of it. I'm trying to scroll results and think on my feet.
Trevor had very little road course experience, though.
Yeah, he did. So I like
wasn't that the first year that Road America was on the schedule for Xfinity?
It might have been. Yeah.
And wasn't that I believe that was the weekend that they actually ran both Xfinity ran that weekend and they were running back and forth. So a lot of them ran Sonoma because the Sonoma race was before Road America because they ran Road America on Sunday.
That's right.
Yeah. So a lot of them doubled just so they could get the experience on the road course to go back to Road America.
So then, so let's draw the timeline out a little bit more. 2015, you had Trevor Bayne jump down from Roush to run in a McAnally car, and he was kind of the only real interloper that you had that year because everybody that's now in the National Series was still Austin Dillon again.
Yeah.
There.
Dillon does it every year just about.
Which is a little annoying for me.
Yeah.
At least he hasn't won it yet.
Yeah.
So,
2016, Chase Elliott won it, dropping down from Hendrick. So, I mean, this is not a new thing. That was actually the first year that Will Rogers showed up to Sonoma in a K&N car.
Yep.
2017 was the year that Harvick won it, jumping down from, in a Jefferson Pitts SHR car. Let's just be real and call that what it was.
Ferrari running a Volkswagen Bug race.
Yeah, something like that. That was the year you also had Suarez jump down in a MDM car and Blaney jump down as well. And then last year was the year that it really, 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 really pissed me off because you had Eric Almirola in a bona fide Stewart Haas car.
Yeah.
William Byron in a Jefferson Pitts Hendrick car.
Yeah.
Daniel Suarez in a DGR Crosley Gibbs car. Eric Jones in a DGR Crosley Gibbs car. And there was one more. I am missing one. Bowman in a McAnally Hendrick car.
Yeah. I mean, and look, I don't want to vilify anybody. I just don't care for the idea. I've never liked that because here's why. And my perfect example is Greg Biffle going and winning the truck race at Texas. Tyler Ankrum made up 4 laps that day and finished third. Greg Biffle comes out of retirement, gets in the 51 truck that's already won 5 races and wins. Big surprise. And what is everybody talking about the next day? Greg Biffle. Meanwhile, Tyler Ankrum is now out of his truck ride because he doesn't have sponsorship.
After coming from 4 laps down to finish third.
And so he's now having to step back, and everybody's talking about how Biffle should have been allowed to go and race at Iowa the following week and chase the big money. And my point to that is, we have Ryan Repko sitting here, and, drivers like Ryan and Tyler, and those are the guys that need the publicity at that level. And when you have this type of a situation where all these guys come down, now, granted, when Will Rogers went and actually won the race, and and then the year before finished second to Harvick and almost beat Harvick.
That was huge publicity.
That was huge for him, and it kind of launched him. But at the same time, I feel like the top guys come in, and if they dominate the show, that's what we talk about. And so somebody, like an Ankrum that goes out and has this great day, nobody's saying anything about that. So that's what frustrates me is they basically pretty much suck the limelight away from the ones who spend their entire season and a whole lot of money to try and get some publicity and get up to that level. I feel like it just takes away.
So basically the moral of the story is that unless it's a Cup regular winning, there's not going to be any news about it whatsoever because no one cares if a Cup regular. I
don't know
if it's not a K&N
if you have a K&N regular go out and smoke all these guys on Saturday, then it's actually worth something. But
even if
one of those guys wins, then it's a non-story as far as I'm concerned.
But even if they are competitive, whether they win or not, they should at least get the consideration of going, hey, at least I kept up
I was
going
to say, if it's like what Will did being on Harvick's bumper in the last corner a couple years ago.
Yeah. Because, I mean, I love the fact that Harvick had a good heart when he was doing that because he was legitimately trying to.
He was trying to do it for the right reason.
Yeah,
which
he was trying to do it to elevate the race publicity itself and to go back and do short track stuff. But, anyways, we'll see how it turns out this time. It will be interesting. We have got a lightning round coming up just around the turn. Stick around. One more segment left on tonight's Lead Lap Radio Show, and we'll be right back with it.
When do you think of a plumber? Like most people, even if it's an emergency, you can be confident about who will arrive to help you. For quality and reliability, count on someone you can trust. Call on the plumbing services of Hague Quality Water of Maryland. Plumbing doesn't have to be an emergency. We handle all kinds of preventative maintenance too. Hague Quality Water of Maryland is family-owned here in Annapolis since 1993. For a refreshing choice, call us at 888-84-WATER or visit us online.
Here at Lewis Meineke, we're more than just your average car care center. Hey, it's Dave, your neighbor from Lewis Meineke. Whether you need an oil change, brakes, tires, or anything under the hood, we've got you covered. Take advantage of our free check engine light service as well. Yes, free. And don't forget about our free shuttle service. Never stress, we'll take care of the rest. On with life. Give us a call at Lewis Meineke, 302-827-2054.
Is your job sucking the life out of you? Wake up. You can do something else. Information technology. I know what you're thinking, but I'm not a math and science person. No problem and no excuses, because it's not rocket science. It's My Computer Career. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. You can start your new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months. mycomputercareer.edu. That's mycomputercareer.edu.
Do you love the sound of high-revving motors and the smell of burning rubber? Do you want to get your car sideways right at the ragged edge of control? If you've always wanted to try drifting or learn to improve your drifting skills, Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier motorsports facility, has the expert instructors and the specialized track to teach you how to drift and the skills necessary to drift competitively. From skid pad to open sessions, Summit Point Motorsports Park has the safe and open environment that allows drifters of all skill levels, new to intermediate, to get sideways and smoking. With a focus on safety and the skill set necessary to drift competitively, Summit Point Motorsports Park's Drift Nirvana is just the thing for you. Call for your reservation today, 304-725-8444. Or for more information, go online, summitpoint-raceway.com, or you can email them at office@bsrinc.com. Drift Nirvana, getting you sideways the right way.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearms storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Matt Tift, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Welcome back. The party music continues here on Lead Lap Radio tonight. Tom Baker, Jacob Seelman. To my right, Randy Miller. To my left, Ryan Repko at the head of the table over there. Chris Murdoch behind the proverbial glass, punching all the buttons and, again, interjecting as he wishes. And this is our lightning round on Lead Lap Radio, where we basically throw some topics out there. Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's angry, sometimes it's frustrating, and sometimes it just falls flat on its keister. We're going to try to make that not happen tonight. I'm going to start this with one for Ryan Repko. I would like to know from you, Ryan, you have raced quarter midgets, you've raced late models, now you've raced Xfinity. I want to know if there's one race that sticks out in your mind as the most special race that you've run. I'm going to throw out the Xfinity race because I already know that would probably be the answer.
Yeah. I have a follow-up, too.
Okay.
All right.
Give me the one memory that's most memorable to you can be any race you've ever run in any class.
Martinsville Late Model Race 2016. Okay, so that was the biggest race I'd ever run at the time, and I think 80-something cars showed up that particular year. We've been seeing more now that it's at night.
Yeah.
But that was the last day race, and I remember when we went out for qualifying, I was behind Josh Berry, and I remember thinking, okay, well, I'll just follow him, and if I do something like him, I'll probably be somewhere up front. Well, I ended up being third quickest, which is something that never happens. And believe it or not, I actually passed Josh coming to the line. So that I'm actually kind of excited to see a single car coming back because
I was going to say under this year's format, you'd have been locked in.
I might have made it. It was something ridiculously close that I missed it by. But, man, if I could have got that pole in my first year, that would have been unheard of. But still, third place was still unheard of. And then I remember we were very competitive in the race. The heat race didn't quite go our way. We had I think we had our air pressures too high or something like that because we ended up taking off, and then we had a caution, and then we got tight. But I think I made it up to like fourth or something like that. And then the way our day came to an end, or it didn't come to an end, but it basically took away any chance of winning the race. We actually got dumped under caution by somebody that wasn't paying attention when we checked up. Yeah.
Wow. 2016 was the year that Mike Looney ended up winning.
Yes.
So,
yep.
In a Reynolds racing chassis.
In a Reynolds car, that's right.
Yep.
Which is what you now drive.
I think we had something for him. No, I was in one then, too. I've always been in one.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Go ahead, Chris. You had a follow-up.
So he asked you what your favorite memory was racing. Is there any series or any track or anything in particular, barring Cup, because we know you want to go to Cup, is there anything out there that you would like to run that maybe you haven't had the chance to?
I mean, I've always thought it'd be kind of cool to run a K&N race just because, I don't know, the cars look cool and there seems to be a lot of publicity around that series. I've always thought it'd be kind of cool to run that, but I've never really had the opportunity or the funding to run that.
That's a safe. I mean, you always look for, I'd love to go race IndyCar. I want to go race a modified. I want to go race a dirt
That's
car
realistic.
over here. I want to go, you're just saying, no, just give me a K&N car. So you like the stock cars.
I've always been a big NASCAR fan. I've never really paid too much attention to the road course racing or other forms of motorsports. I've just been a big NASCAR guy the whole time I've been a race fan.
And how did you start being a race fan?
So when I was 5 years old, I was watching NASCAR. I can't tell you what track, but it was a road course. I remember that much. So I'm thinking maybe Watkins Glen or something like that.
Probably
with my grandpa.
Sonoma.
And I remember being like, that's cool. I want to do that one day. And then, 5 years passed until I got my first quarter midget. But in that time, I watched every single race. I mean, I was just the biggest race fan ever. And then I remember the day we got that quarter midget, and that was an exciting day.
So you didn't start racing quarters till you were 10?
No, I got a late start compared to how they're doing them now.
Okay. So you ran 4 years, and the quarters went straight to late models.
Yep.
Yeah, that's how you do it right
there.
there.
We won 115 races in quarter midgets, so I think it was time to move up.
Yeah, probably time to move to something, but that's still a big jump, though, right?
Yeah, that was a little bit of a big jump. But, I was 14, so most people when they get in the legend cars, they're like, 12, would you say? Something like that. So I'd already almost aged out of that. So it almost made sense to keep up with the ladder just to go straight to a limited late model, which is what we ended up doing.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. All right.
Do you think that's helped you at all? Just taking the bigger leaps at a certain point, learning more on your feet as you go?
I would say to some degree. I feel like when people come from a legend car, they normally start off better, but there are also some habits that they kind of carry.
That's correct.
I always drove a stock car, so I never knew any difference. So, I mean, I almost wonder in the long run that might have been a better thing, but in the short run, the legend car guys tend to start off better, maybe have a better debut race, better first season.
Well, legends are very good for car control, but the way that you drive a legend car compared to the way that you drive a late model obviously are different things. The one thing I will say for the Legends cars, though, is I remember, and Ryan Millington is the one who told me this, when he went to run Martinsville for the first time, he was one of the top 5 fastest cars there, almost out of the box. And I said, well, how did you adapt so well? He said, it's just like running Charlotte, running the shootout in a Legends car, same exact driving style. basically, on the throttle, go into the turn and stand on the brake.
Yep.
And so, he was able to kind of take that program and adapt it and be very fast in Martinsville. But that's an interesting issue that you bring up. There are differences, and the ones who don't recognize that, like you said, they may start off faster or whatever, but they're going to have issues, especially I think when you're in the racing itself, because it's quite a different form of racing than running Legends cars. But it's definitely good car control. I think the Legends cars are great for that. Okay, so around the table, and again, some of these questions are designed to provoke thought, and some of them are just designed to provoke interest. So I'm going to start with Ryan because he's a racer in this. Chris asked you if there was another type of car that you would like to race. I want to know if there's a particular track that you've never raced that you would love to go run a race at, even if not in the type of car, but is there a track that you would just love to go run a race there? And if so, what is it and why?
So I'm going to go with two of them. Charlotte Motor Speedway, just because that's what I've always grown up with. And then I've actually ran one race here, but I would like to I had the opportunity to run one race there in the intermediate division, Millbridge. But I would almost like to get an open and run there on a weekly basis just because it looks like a fun thing to do. I see Max McLaughlin go out there.
Don't say that too loudly. I might just know some people.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, Jacob knows a lot of people.
I just see Max go out there, and it looks like a lot of fun.
So you may or may not know this if you've been out there recently, but I've been announcing there now for about 4 years.
Yeah, you sing the national anthem.
Oh, geez, he knows that, too.
See? Jacob sings the national anthem very well.
No, I know enough people. If you want to make that a reality, we can probably pull some strings and make that happen.
But probably not for free.
No.
So
I'm not very good. Nobody's gonna give me a ride out there off talent.
Well, there will be people who will give you a ride. You just have to pay for it.
Yeah, I'm a good pavement driver, but dirt's not something I perfected. I haven't had much seat time there.
I think it would be a whole lot of fun though, and I'll tell you what. Again, this gives us a chance to throw a nice plug for the folks at Millbridge. Ashley and Jeremy and their staff do an amazing job, and they really have transformed that place over the last number of years. So it's interesting that you mentioned that. We've got a few minutes left. I want to get the rest of the group involved. We go to Sonoma. I mentioned earlier that I really felt like, there's no need for ringers anymore because everybody's really, really good at this road course thing. So I thought it would be fun to pick a winner, first of all, and then I'll have a follow-up to that. We'll start with Randy because I can. Randy Miller, who wins Sonoma on Sunday.
Alex Bowman.
Wow. Okay. Bowman, the showman, gets his first win on the road course on Sunday. Ryan, you want to throw out a pick?
Kyle Larson, because he's going to use all the skills that he learned to win the Speed 51 at Millbridge to same concept. No, I'm just kidding.
I was going to say, I don't think there were any right turns at Millbridge the last I knew.
No, you turn right to go left.
But that
you see what I'm saying here?
Okay, technically.
Nah, no, I'm just messing around.
Kyle Larson, that's an interesting. I'll tell you what, I wouldn't be surprised, to be very honest. But there is somebody I like better. Jacob Seelman?
So
he's going to say Kyle Busch, folks.
No.
Get ready. No?
No.
Really?
I'm gonna be so wrong, but how I wish I wouldn't be, because I just think it's cool what they're doing this weekend. So for a sentimental pick, it's DW's last race, and if you haven't seen what Roush Fenway Racing is doing this weekend, they've actually got one of the Western Auto throwback schemes on the car this weekend. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is my sentimental throwing it out there pick of the driver I would love to see win this race just for the hell of it.
They actually put Western Auto on the car, or is it just the look-alike?
It's a look-alike. They've got Thank You DW on the quarter panels.
That's
now,
awesome.
If you want me to ask you who I say, realistically wins this race, it's still way more than a 2-inch limb. Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy Johnson. Well, Justin Sullivan in our chat doesn't disagree with you. He said, if I'm betting on it, I'll pick Jimmy Johnson, but he's an Austin Dillon fan, so he wants to see Austin Dillon win, and he might just get his wish. Chris Murdoch.
Well, Jacob took my pick, so I'm going to pick Brad Keselowski.
Okay.
Interesting.
That's very interesting. I'm going against all of you because I have a really sneaking suspicion that this weekend we actually see a Stuart Haas Ford in victory lane.
Harvick.
Clint Boyer.
Wow.
Clint Boyer gets the win this weekend.
We remind ourselves that Clint Boyer won with Michael Waltrip racing at Sonoma once upon a prayer.
Clint Boyer gets the win, and I'm going to tell you, my second pick would be Kurt Busch. I think you need to watch Kurt Busch this weekend. I really feel like he's going to be gunning for it. Jacob, I think it's time for you to close us out here on Lead Lap Radio.
I think it is, and I want to say thanks to Repko for coming in and spending an entire
Thank
show
you
with
guys
us.
for having me.
I was going to say, I hope
we
you
need
had
to do
fun.
this more.
Yo, I did.
So we also want to thank our partners at HMS Motorsports, strutmasters.com, and mycomputercareer.edu for what they do to make everything we do in this building with Race Chaser Radio possible. So right now, for Randy Miller, Tom Baker, our special guest Ryan Repko, and Chris Murdoch behind the glass punching buttons, I'm Jacob Seelman. Keep it off the wall, folks, and if you're headed to a racetrack somewhere, well, we might just see you there this weekend. Have a safe racing weekend. Good night.
You've been listening to Lead Lap Radio powered by HMS Motorsport, the leaders in motorsport safety. You can find them on the web at hmsmotorsport.com. Lead Lap Radio is a Race Chaser Media production. For more exciting and passionate motorsport content, follow Race Chaser Media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, and visit racechasermedia.com. The opinions expressed by our guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of the staff, management, affiliates, or marketing partners of Race Chaser Media. No part of this show may be reproduced in any manner without the expressed written consent of Race Chaser Media. Thank you for listening.